अंतिम दिन के दूसरे सत्र में। आज के हमारे दोनों सत्र जो पहला अभी खत्म हुआ और ये दूसरा सत्र जो है, वो दिव्यांग लेखक सम्मेलन के रूप में हमने इस रचना संसार में हमारे दिव्यांग जो लेखक हैं, रचना हैं, कवि हैं, साहित्यकार हैं, उनका जो अनुपम योगदान है और वो लगातार जिस तरह से पूरी कमिटमेंट के साथ अपनी रचना धर्मिता को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं, उसकी झलक हमने पहले सत्र में जो देखी, उसमें कविताओं के माध्यम से देखी और अब वो सिलसिला कहानियों के माध्यम से हम महसूस कर पाएँगे और अपनी कहानियों के पाठ के माध्यम से उस अनुभूति से जुड़ने का हम सबको अवसर मिलेगा। तो एक बार पुनः इस सत्र में जो कि हमने इसका जो शीर्षक दिया है दिव्यांग लेखक सम्मेलन निर्बंध स्वर अपरिमित कहानियाँ यानी डिफरेंटली एबल्ड राइटर्स मीट वॉइसेस अनबाउंड स्टोरीज बियॉन्ड लिमिट्स। तो इस सत्र में इसकी अध्यक्षता कर रहे हैं हम सबके बीच यहाँ मंच पर विराजमान हैं श्री अरविंद पी भाटीकर जी जो सेवानिवृत्त आईएएस अधिकारी हैं और बहुत ही प्रसिद्ध लेखक हैं कोंकणी के। तो आपकी करतल ध्वनि तालियों के साथ उनका बहुत बहुत स्वागत अभिनंदन है आदरणीय अरविंद पी भाटीकर जी का। और इसमें ओडिया कहानी के लिए हमने आमंत्रित किया है अनिता नायक जी को यहाँ पर मंच पर है। साथ ही पेंड्याला गायत्री तेलुगु कहानी जो लिखती है वो अपनी कहानी का पाठ करेंगे। तो इन सभी का एक बार आपकी करतल ध्वनि के साथ स्वागत अभिनंदन है। और अरविंद त्रिपाठी सर विद योर परमिशन वी विल स्टार्ट नाउ। भाटिकर साहब हम शुरू करें या अ, चलिए कहानियों की तो अब उसको हम हमें उम्मीद है कि कहानियाँ बहुत लंबी नहीं होंगी क्योंकि उसको हम बीच में तो रोक नहीं सकते, कविताओं के साथ ये सुविधा होती है। लेकिन उसमें चूँकि अलग-अलग भाषाओं में तेलुगु और उड़िया की कहानियाँ लिखी गई हैं जिस तरह से उनकी प्रस्तुति होगी, तो वो एक झलक उस भाषा की और उसका फिर अनुवाद, वो आपके सामने ताकि हम सब उस कहानी की भाव को, उसकी पृष्ठभूमि को, उसकी शैली को और उसकी कथावस्तु को समझ सकें ठीक से। तो इस क्रम में सबसे पहले मैं मंच पर जो कहानी पढ़ने के लिए जिनके बारे में आपको विवरण देने जा रहा हूँ, वो अनीता नायक जी हैं। और अनीता नायक जी रचनाकार हैं, कवि हैं, कहानीकार हैं और उत्कल विश्वविद्यालय से ओडिया में आपने स्नातकोत्तर की डिग्री हासिल की हुई है, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन की डिग्री हासिल की है। फेरिचा फागुन आपका प्रकाशित कविता संग्रह भी है, कहानियाँ भी लिखती है जैसे मैंने आपको बताया। वर्ष 2011 से ओडिशा सरकार के शिक्षा विभाग में आप सहायक शिक्षिका के रूप में काम कर रही हैं और इसके साथ-साथ भाव संगीत में भी आपने विशारद किया है। तो साहित्य से लेकर संगीत तक का जो उनका सृजन का और सृजनात्मकता का संसार है, उसकी अभिव्यक्ति जो है अलग-अलग माध्यमों से होती रहती है। तो उनसे निवेदन उनकी कहानी के लिए और उनकी कहानी को पढ़ने के लिए अशोक नायक जी, वो आएँगे, तो उड़िया का आभास देते हुए आपको उसका आपको कहानी का प्रस्तुत करेंगे। आइए, आपकी तालियों के साथ, करताल ध्वनि के साथ अनीता जी का अभिनंदन, स्वागत और उनकी कहानी आपके सामने प्रस्तुत कर रहे हैं अशोक नायक जी।
जय जगन्नाथ। नमस्कार देवी और सज्जनों। ऑल इंडिया साहित्य उत्सव को सभी को स्वागत। वेलकम टू आज हमको यहाँ बोलने का मौका मिला, इसलिए हम ऑल इंडिया साहित्य अकादमी को धन्यवाद दे रहे हैं। सम्मेलन में उपस्थित मेरे मेरे से बड़े गुरुजनों को मैं मुंडी झुकाकर नमन करता हूँ और मेरे से छोटे लघुजनों को मेरा स्नेह आशीर्वाद। आज अगर मेरे पापा होते तो बहुत खुश होते, तो पापा को भी मैं यहाँ से प्रणाम कर रहा हूँ। मैं अशोक नायक, कवयित्री अनीता नायक जी का छोटा भाई। हम लोग जगन्नाथ देश, ओडिशा से आए हैं। अनीता जी ओडिशा का भद्रक जिला, हमारे गाँव बागुराई में स्थित जागोड़ा यूपी स्कूल में शिक्षयित्री हैं। 6th क्लास से उनका आँख में ग्लोकोमा हुआ था। आगे चलकर पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन के समय पूरा आँख खराब हो गया। दिल्ली एम्स में 2 बार ऑपरेशन हुआ, लेकिन कुछ काम हुआ नहीं। बहुत तकलीफ से वो पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट किया, लाइन ट्रेनिंग भी पूरा किया। अभी उनका जीवन के ऊपर आधारित कुछ घटना कल्प के माध्यम से बयान करने जा रहे हैं। यदि कुछ भूल हो गया, कुछ भूल होगा तो माफ़ कर दीजिएगा। तो पहले जो गल्प है, गल्प का नाम है अभिशप्ता है। तो मैं पहले कुछ उड़िया में जैसे सर बोल रहे थे जैनेंद्र सर, तो कुछ उड़िया में आपको सुनाऊँगा, उसके बाद हिंदी में आपको अनुवाद करके बताऊँगा। उसके बाद पूरा हिंदी में आपको सुनाऊँगा गल्प। अभिशप्ता ମୁଁ ବସଟା ଚାଲିଗଲାଣି ଅନେକ ବେଳୁ, ଚକ୍ଷୁର ଅନ୍ତରାଳରେ ସୁଦୂର ଦିଗନ୍ତରେ ଲୀନ ହୋଇଗଲାଣି। ବସ୍ ଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡରେ ଜନଗହଳି ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ଜମିବାକୁ ଲାଗି କମିବାକୁ ଲାଗିଛି। ନୀରବ ନିଶ୍ଚଳ ହୋଇ ଦଣ୍ଡାୟମାନ ହୋଇଥିଲି ମୁଁ। ଚାହିଁ ରହିଥିଲି ସେଇ ଦିଗକୁ ଯେଉଁ ଦିଗରେ ଦ୍ରୁତଗାମୀ ବସଟା ଘର୍ଘର ନାଦରେ ମୋର ବନ୍ଧୁକୁ ବୋହି ନେଇ ଚାଲିଗଲା। ଲଳିତ ଗଣ୍ଡ ଦେଶକୁ ମୋର ସିକ୍ତ କରି ଝରି ଆସିଥିଲା ହତାଶାର କେଇ ବୁନ୍ଦା ତପ୍ତ ଅଶ୍ରୁ। ବିଦାୟ ବେଳର ଶୁଭ ଅବସରରେ ମୋର ବିଦାୟୀ ବନ୍ଧୁକୁ ଅଭିନନ୍ଦନ ଜଣାଇବାକୁ ଯାଇ ଭାବନା ରାଜ୍ୟରେ ପଥଭ୍ରଷ୍ଟା ହୋଇ ଘୂରି ବୁଲୁଥିଲି ମୁଁ। ମୁଖମଣ୍ଡଳର ଅନିନ୍ଦ୍ୟ ସୁଷମାରେ ମୋର ଭରି ଯାଇଥିଲା ଦୁଃଖର କାଳିମା। ନୟନର ଘନ ନୀଳିମାରେ ସମୟର ତୁଷାର ଛାୟା ଅଜସ୍ର ଦୁର୍ଭାବନାରେ ନଇଁ ଆସିଥିଲା ମୋର ସୁନ୍ଦର ସୁଗଠିତ शरीर। इतना मैं बंद करके मैं हिंदी में आपको सुना रहा हूँ। हिंदी में बहुत देर पहले बस चली गई थी। आँखों आँखों से दूर-दूर दिगंतों में लीन हो गई थी। बस स्टैंड आहिस्ता-आहिस्ता लोक शून्य होने लगा था। नीरव निश्चल होकर खड़ी हुई थी मैं। ताक रही थी उसी ओर जिस रास्ते में बैग वाली गाड़ी घर-घर नाद से चली गई थी, मेरे सहेली को बिठाकर। मेरे कोमल गंडदेश को सिक्त करके बह गए थे हताशा के कई बूंद तप्त आंसू। जुदाई के दुःख अवसर में मेरी सहेली से बिछड़ने के भाव राज्य में खो गई थी। चेहरे पर छा गए थे दुःख के बादल। बेशुमार दुश्चिंता में समय की काली छाया घेर गई थी मेरे चेहरे पर। अवांछित एक डर का शीतल तरंग बिजली सा संचर गया था मेरे अंग-अंग में। चीहर उठी थी मैं। आंसू से भरे नयन जुगल हल्का सा खोल उठे थे। व्याकुल हो उठा था मेरा मन। एक दुष्ट पीड़ा भर गई थी मेरे हृदय को। हेतुवादी मन लेकर विश्लेषण कर रही थी उसी परिस्थिति की। खो देने वाली कीमती चीजों को वापस पाने की कोशिश कर रही थी मैं। दीर्घ जीवन के पथ को कुसुमित करके अनजाना भविष्य को पकड़कर मेरी सहेली चली गई थी डॉक्टरी शिक्षा पाने को। डॉक्टर मेरे मन का चरम अभिलाषा, लेकिन मानस पट में सजी हुई सब आशा क्रमशः उज्ज्वलहीन होकर निर्वापित पथ पर अग्रसर होने लगी। किसी एक बवंडर में छिन-भिन हो गया। सर्विस टू मैनकाइंड इज़ सर्विस टू गॉड। इस युक्ति को हृदय में छिपाकर मैं आगे चलने लगी भविष्य की संधान में। अग्रगति ही उन्नति का प्रतीक है, लेकिन इस उन्नति के पथ में अंतराय थे मेरे 2 नेत्र। उन्नति के पावत्स से अचानक गिर पड़ी। संभवतः सृष्टा का अभिशाप था वो। उस दिन से सृष्टा के अभिशाप को आशीर्वाद मानकर, दुःख को सुख समझकर, उनकी शुभंकरी इच्छा के पास अपने आप को समर्पण किया मैंने। अभिशापग्रस्त होकर जो सारे जीवन काल में रोग शैय्या का स्पर्श पाया है, वो एक डॉक्टर बनकर मरीजों की सेवा करेगी? ये एक हास्यास्पद भावना होते हैं। 12 महीने में मुझे 13 प्रकार के रोग, शारीरिक दुर्बलता को लेकर मानसिक शांति आना मुश्किल है। दुःख की घटनाओं में फँसकर मानसिक स्थिति हलचल हो जाती है। सतत चेष्टा के बावजूद क्या मैं सफल हो सकती? परंतु आशा आशा में रह जाती है। आशा की केवड़ा सृष्टा की क्रूर क्रूर अभिशाप से अकाल में मुरझा जाती। अमावस की रात में घनघोर अंधेरे में समंदर जिस प्रकार अशांत हो उठता, ठीक उसी प्रकार मर्मभेदी विलाप में निनादित हो उठता मेरा मन। मन ही मन तर्क कर बैठती, किसने चुरा ली मेरी आँखों की रोशनी? अपितु मेरे आँखों में भर दिए थे बेशुमार आँसू और हृदय को आहुताश में। मानस पट में जला दी धू-धू आग। जैसे मैं उसी आग की शिखा में संपूर्ण निःशेष हो जाऊँगी। मेरी सहेली अशांत समुद्र के उताल तरंग के लय में इंद्रधनुष के सप्तरंग देखा है। उसके दुग्ध फेनिल लहर में स्निग्ध शीतल स्पर्श में पुलकित हुआ है। लेकिन सुंदर की अशुमार आवेदन सॉरी लेकिन समुद्र की अशुमार आवेदन, विनती और अनकही कोह की भाषा को समझने की चेष्टा वो कभी की नहीं की। वो आगे चलता रहा कर्तव्य की पथ में निर्विकार होकर। एक बार भी पीछे मुड़कर नहीं देखा कि वो स्वल्प दृष्टि युक्ता उसकी सहेली कैसे दुख के शिलाबंधुर पथ में अग्रसर होती है, बीच बीच में कैसे अबस हो जाती है। वो चाहती है सौंदर्यमयी गुलाब को, लेकिन वो उसकी कंटक की शाखाओं को छुआ नहीं। मेरे जीवन के यात्रा पथ में सकल प्रकार के बाधा विघ्न और विरोध को लिपटा कर आगे चलती रही। जानती नहीं इसी दुखपूर्ण परिस्थिति का अवसान कहाँ। मरीजों की सेवा को जीवन के व्रत के रूप में स्वीकार करने का मन में दुर्बार आशा लेकर इंटरमीडिएट साइंस पढ़ना मैंने भूला नहीं था। नेत्र की बाधा ना मानकर मैं पढ़ रही थी, लेकिन अंत को उसका फलाफल लेकर मैं विब्रत हो चुकी थी। कभी उन कभी उनकी कविता को लेकर जीता है, शिल्पी उसकी कला को लेकर जीता है, विद्यार्थी उनकी विद्या और भावुक हो जाता है अपनी दृष्टि के अवर्णनीय सृष्टि संभार में। लेकिन मैं किसको लेकर जिंदा रहूंगी? मैं तो गंधहीन एक फूल जैसा हूँ। सुभाषित फूलों को मधुभाई भंवर छू जाता है, लेकिन गंधहीन कली प्रस्फुटित होकर भी अनादृत अवस्था में मुरझा जाती। अरण्य की मल्लिका विकसित होती हुई भी उनकी सुरभि हवा के चप्पल छंद के लय में चारों ओर फैल जाती है। परखने वाला परख लेता, लेकिन मैं आज गुण ग्राम से वंचित हूँ। शिक्षा के खतरे में मैं हार गई। शिक्षा के खतरे में मैं हार गई, जीत गई मेरी सहेली। वो गुलाबी होठों में हास्य रेखा फैलाकर, हाथों में विजय गौरव के निशान लेकर एक सरल पुष्पित पथ में यात्री हो गई और मैं एक कंटकित पथ में आगे चलने वाली हूँ। मेरा मन बार-बार विलाप कर उठा है। अभिशप्ता में, अभिशप्ता में, मेरा जीवन कुछ काम ना आया, जैसे सूखे एक पेड़ की छाया। थैंक यू वेरी मच। और मैं थोड़ा अनीता जी के बारे में बोलना चाहता हूँ। ओके, ओके, ओके। तो साहित्य अकादमी को मैं अंतर से धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। हम लोग ओडिशा से आए हैं। आज ये स्टेज में हमको बुलाकर हमको जो सम्मान दिया है, उसके लिए मैं आभारी हूँ और सबको पूरा साहित्य अकादमी को मेरे तरफ से धन्यवाद।
बहुत-बहुत आभार अनिता नायक जी का इस कहानी के लिए और उसको प्रस्तुत किया अशोक नायक ने। अगली जो कहानी है वो तेलुगु भाषा में लिखी गई कहानी है और उसकी लेखिका पेंदयाला गायत्री जी मंच पर हमारे साथ हैं। आपको ये बता दूं कि ये कवयित्री भी हैं, ये पोएटिस भी हैं, कथाकार भी हैं, कहानियाँ लिखती हैं और वैसे बाय प्रोफेशन वो टीचर हैं, शिक्षिका हैं और 50 से भी अधिक कहानियाँ जो हैं आप लिख चुकी हैं। इनके 2 उपन्यास भी पब्लिश हुए हैं, 6 नाटक पब्लिश हुए हैं और 100 से अधिक कविताएँ जो हैं वो पेंड्याला गायत्री जी की प्रकाशित हो चुकी हैं। तो ऐसे प्रतिभावान साहित्य सृजन के साथ जुड़ी हुई प्रतिभा को नमन करते हुए उनकी तरफ से जो उनकी कहानी है तेलुगु में लिखी गई वो सुवर्णा जी वो कहानी आपके सामने है उसका तेलुगु में एक पैरा और उसके बाद उस कहानी का अनुवाद आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करेंगे।
Hello everyone. I'm reading the story To Get Eligibility written by Gayathri Garu. I'm Swarna Kilari from Telangana, Hyderabad. So the story's name is To Get Eligibility. India is my motherland. All Indians are my brothers and sisters. 3-year-old Swatantra was at a loss to remember the words to complete the sentence and the oath that's taught in her school. Adoring grandfather Tilak came to her rescue and completed I love my country. And as Tilak was praising Swatantra, Nirati, her elder sister, who was sitting nearby studying, couldn't control herself and asked Tilak, Grandfather, why are you so partial towards her? Tilak, taken aback by this accusation, inquired, why did you feel so, Nirati, dear? Nirati was silent and didn't answer. Swatantra ran towards their mother, who just entered the room, and with her small, tender hands around the mother's legs, said, Mummy, I narrated the oath to our grandfather, saying in a pleased tone, You are an intelligent girl. Swatantra's mother took her into her arms and left the room. After Tilak's goading, Nirati answered his earlier question. No one in this house is recognizing me, grandfather. Smiling, Tilak asked, What do you mean by recognizing? With a few tears streaming down her cheeks, Nirati answered, All you people treat Swatantra so adoringly and praise her for everything she does. I'm not recognized for all my efforts. Even after studying hard, you would ask me to get more and more marks than what I secure. Always ask me to study more. Tilak sitting near her with a hand put patronizingly on her head said, Oh, is that your complaint? Look there. The sun who gave light to us all morning, even while bearing our remarks of so much hot sun, is silently sinking into the western mountains. Look this side, this tree which gives air for us, which gives us fruits, yet bears our admonitions of shedding so many leaves, silently goes on serving us. Did you or me ever express our gratitude to the sun or to this tree? And did they feel sad and stop? Nirati got more agitated while drawing away from her grandfather said, I'm talking of people and you are giving the examples of trees and hills. Dear Nirati, I know you got angry on me. Okay, let me show you and tell about some people who never got to seek our word of praise or gratitude from anyone and who went away with time's flow, Tilak said and took a nearby album into his hand. Though Niriti was a bit reluctant initially, she went and sat her grandfather. Tilak stopped at a picture and asked, Did you see a picture of this man? Do you know anything about him? Looks like I saw this photo, but at this moment I am unable to recollect his name. This man, a very simple, innocent man, unaware of this word's existence, is to tell brutally a madman, there is nothing wrong with you not recollecting his name. Grandfather, how can you say such thing? Taken aback, Nirati asked and continued. I think he was a freedom fighter. He mortgaged his mother's silk saree to study and become a lawyer. He could have earned lakhs of rupees in those days and lead a happy life. Instead, he donated everything to the cause of the country and faced white man's bullets. He overcome hunger with self-prestige and breathed his last due to a sunstroke. And what do you call this man? How do you describe him? And who remembers him these days? He suffered a sunstroke, poor soul. Didn't he go to a hospital? Going to a hospital, earning whatever true immoral means to stamp every achievement of the government as his personal victory are all unknown to this once chief minister of the Telugu state. Voice choking said Tilak. How did I forget such a great man's name? You didn't tell me. I will find out and tell, said Nirati very confidently. Wonderful Nirati dear, living up to your name you are. See, look at this photo. Can you recognize him? Inquired Tilak. No, I never saw this gentleman, grandfather. Nirati answered, shaking her hand. Nirati answered, shaking her head earlier way. And all these words and dialogue were being heard by another pair of ears apart from Nirati, unknown to either of them. With an extreme love of his mother tongue Telugu, he neglected and lost his life. For about 2 months, he forwent his food, even when the pangs of hunger were too much to bear. With very poor stamina and a wavering body, even when limbs were not cooperating, carelessly he strived for his body to be a part of the foundations of a Telugu state. He desired to be a brick in the monument of Telugu pride. He wished to be fruit bearing in Telugu land, and in that endeavor, he sacrifices his life, a poor often in the end, voice vibrating with emotions, narrated Tilak and stopped for a while. That means the people for whom he gave his life ignored him. Sad. I don't even remember this being mentioned in my school, said Nirati recently looking at the photo. Oh, they recognized but forgot to remember. Some people might have remembered him as a topic of general knowledge, but didn't carry him in their heart. The popular people have even wild wish lives for power. This thought man never thought. With grief in his voice, grandfather Tilak said while turning the pages of the photo album. As Tilak was turning the pages of the album, Nirati stopped him at a particular photo and said, Grandfather, whose photo is this? I don't remember having seen this photo earlier. A pale smile on his face. Tilak said, the man is a workaholic. The oath your little sister was narrating some time back is penned by this man. Is it? Then I will check in my textbook and can easily find out his name. For coming first in a routine assignment when you were not praised, you got hurt. Even this man suffered such treatment. He wrote it with his own hands and which was adopted by the parliament of our country, which got translated into many languages, published in all textbooks, and which oath is daily taken in the schools of the country. This fact was never known to him until the time of his death. It seems no one ever told him. Very sad and surprised at this fact, Nirati said, how sad, grandfather. You must have suffered a lot. Tilak continued. One day he saw this published text in his grandchild's textbook and was filled with emotion to his core. After that, some good Samaritan took a lot of pain in bringing this fact to the government's notice. And after his death, this oath was published along with his name as a writer. And to boast that he belonged to a particular region, a political party used his name much recently with a heavy heart. Tilak closed the album. Sorry, grandfather, but don't close this album. Hearing what you said, I was ashamed at my earlier behavior. Kindly tell me about some others too. I will find out about their names on my own. Please, grandfather. All right. I will tell you about two others whose photos are not there in this album. Would also be interested in knowing their names too. Dear, sure, grandfather, I will. Please go ahead. There was a girl from a very poor family, yet she had a goal of much higher studies and procuring a government job. Before her hard work could bring results, she got married. With a year, she became a mother to a child, and her husband, who already had higher educational qualifications, was striving hard to get a good government job at a high position. And women not to conceive again. In order to meet domestic needs, got a private job, worked hard, and had a machine-like routine both at home and work. In spite of all precautions, she became a mother again to a child. But she, but the sad part is that she never gained any recognition for all her efforts. With tears in his eyes, Tilak looked at Nirati. Her name is Charita, grandfather. With a very sorrow-filled voice, Nirati replied. Now here is another story. A boy was there once. His father was maintaining a small grocery store, and with that financial background, this boy got very well educated and qualified. While he was looking for a suitable job with his qualifications, he got married. He became a father of two children. At the same time, his age crossed the limit for getting employed in the government, and his educational qualifications became a hurdle to take care of the small grocery store his father had. But he had the gumption to give on his wife's earrings. Sitting idle, he gained a bulging stomach and in the process forgot about his qualification. This boy was never asked to do any service to the nation or sacrifice much. Nobody asked him to sacrifice his life for a cause. His only obligation was to strive for a livelihood and be worthy of a life on this land. for which many great people laid their own lives. And who will come to tell him that this is the essence of all his studies, to strive to the best of capabilities and the resources available to live a worthy life? And who can open the for his wisdom to learn? Tilak said with a hung head. Grandfather, I am unable to grasp the meaning of what all you said, but I know the name of the boy you were talking about. Before I tell you who is he, may I also tell you a story? Will you care to listen? Gently holding to the chin of her grandfather, young Nirati asked. In all this grief, Tilak gave a smile and nodded his head for her to go ahead. There is a boy known as Tilak with a white beard. Tilak gave a loud laugh. No, no, you shouldn't laugh like that. Did I laugh like that when you were telling stories? Nirati quoted. Again, Tilak nodded in agreement and sat giving a serious pose. This white beard this white bearded boy never went to school in his life. He toiled hard and got his brothers and sisters educated. And after growing up, he got married and had three daughters and a son. At that age, he got interested in studies and went to a night school while running a grocery store in the morning while taking care of his family responsibilities. He collected stories and pictures of great people and got some books published. The collector of the district recognized the work of this boy and facilitated him in a function. Newspapers published articles about this boy, but this boy's son Subhash was never impressed and uh, sarcastically commented, "Of what benefit is all this to us?" And even his granddaughter Nirati never heaped praise on him. She didn't even tell her friends about her grandfather's greatness. Saying this, Nirati bent and bowed to his feet. Tilak gathered Nirati into his arms and hugging her said, "What is this, Nirati? What did I do? Nothing great to be worthy of any prize, like that writer who framed the oath. I only decide that our country's cultural heritage to be of pride to me and to the people of this country. And to be worthy of such pride, we should not look for laughs from others, but one of us should be our duty. That and only that is the real gratitude we will be paying to all our great leaders who sacrifices their all." Understood, grandfather. Give me a minute. I will find out the names of the persons you mentioned and tell you. Saying this, Niriti ran into other room while Tilak got up and was placing the album in its place, but felt something touching his feet. Tilak, taking his feet back, he looked at tear-shedding Subhash, his son, and simply said, "Subhash, Father, kindly give me the keys to our grocery shop. I will not boast that I will live up to the person whom you named me after, or give credence to the high studies I did, but will surely assure that will fully strive to be an average citizen of this country and will do my best to do justice to my family responsibilities." Tilak has tears in his eyes too, while hiding over the keys. So thanks to the Sahitya Akademi and Gayathri Garu for this opportunity. Thank you. ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినటువంటి సాహిత్య అకాడమీకి అండ్ గాయత్రి గారికి ఇక్కడికి వచ్చి ఇంత ఇంట్రెస్ట్ గా ఇంతసేపు భాష అర్థం కాకపోయినా అంటే తెలుగు ఆ, ఆ, కావాలని అడిగిన ఆ, మీ పేరండి అశోక్ గారికి అందరికీ మరోసారి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలుపుతూ థ్యాంక్ యూ.
This was the story by Pendyala Gayathri ji, done by Asmarna ji. Thank you very much, Gayathri ji. And now, as you know, Shri Aravind P. Bhatikar ji, who is chairing the session, he is a retired IAS officer of 1966 batch and is a noted Konkani writer. अंग्रेजी में भी आप लिखते हैं और कोंकणी में आपकी 5 और अंग्रेजी में 1 जो पुस्तक है आपकी प्रकाशित हो चुकी है। इसके अलावा जो प्रतिष्ठित दैनिक समाचार पत्र हैं उनमें आपके 200 से भी अधिक आर्टिकल्स जो हैं लेख वो प्रकाशित हो चुके हैं। आपकी जो पहली पुस्तक वोबलम उसे वर्ष का सर्वश्रेष्ठ कोंकणी पुस्तक का पुरस्कार प्राप्त हुआ था। बहुत ही चर्चित उनकी रचना है। आपके उपन्यास कर्मणे काल आज भाल्याम को कोंकणी भाषा मंडल गोवा पुरस्कार और डॉक्टर टीएमएआई पाई फाउंडेशन का सर्वश्रेष्ठ पुस्तक पुरस्कार प्राप्त हो चुका है। गोवा कोंकणी अकादमी से कोंकणी भाषा और साहित्य में आजीवन सेवा का लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट का अवार्ड भी आपको मिल चुका है। इसके साथ-साथ दिवंगत विमला पाई जीवन सिद्धि पुरस्कार से भी सम्मानित हैं। हमारे आज के सत्र की अध्यक्षता कर रहे प्रख्यात साहित्यकार अरविंद पी भाटिकर जी। मैं उनसे अब रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वो अ, आपसे रूबरू हों और अपनी कहानी, अपनी बात आप तक पहुंचाएं। अरविंद पी भाटिकर सर।
Stand and talk. No, I stand and talk. Yeah, yeah. Friends, the whole morning has been very confusing. Uh, I was supposed to chair this session, and for chairing the session, it's very important to know whom I am talking to. But unfortunately, I cannot see, and all of you can see that I cannot see. So there are basic limitations to how I can communicate my thoughts to you, and whether you will all appreciate whatever I want to say. First of all, I must confess that I was so enchanted by the style of talking of our compeer and his voice that I was totally involved in what he was speaking, and I completely forgot that I was to chair this session. And it was so nice to hear him. I thought I would continue to hear him endlessly, so that it's very beautiful, and it reminded me of my childhood days when, if of course none of you would be even of half my age, but those days we used to have only radio. There was no TV, and we used to have a radio called Marconi, and on that radio Ceylon, every week we used to get Amil Sayani's program. Pinaka Pinaka Kitmala. And today's compeer's voice reminded me of my childhood and Amil Sayani. It was so nice. Anyway, coming back to my job today, it's Sahitya Academy has taken a very onerous task on itself. It is to not only to bring all languages together, which it has been doing for the last, I don't know, it started in 54, so last so many years, but introducing a new sort of gamut of feelings and a gamut of cultural histories by introducing the Vikalang angle, the what do you call them now? Now, differently able, because we have been calling them physically handicapped for many years. Then we started calling them physically challenged, and then now we call them differently able. And now, whether this differently able is also going to change in future, we do not know. But coming to short stories, I am wondering how a differently able person can write short stories, because their stories can never be short. Differently abled persons have to face much more problem in life than the normally able people. And what is life? Somewhere I read in the past, life is short and art is long. Life is short and art is long. Now, if life is short, how can there be any other literature excepting a short story? You are writing about a short subject. The story has to be short. But I have never written a short story, but I have written novels. I have written long essays. I have brought out collections of my essays. I have written 8 books, 6 in Konkani, 2 in English. Now, All these, can these be called short stories? Just because they are 300 pages, 400 pages, don't they tell a short story? Because they are telling a story about life. And life is short. So my problem was, initially I started doubting why has Sahitya Akademi asked me to chair a session which was for reading of short stories by three of our very able, very gifted, but differently enabled writers. Then I thought to myself, if life is short and if every literary effort is also about life, then what is wrong in a novelist or an essayist or a general writer sharing a session on short stories? There is nothing wrong, because ultimately short story may be about 1000 to 10,000 words. It might be about one plot. It might be about one character. Novel might be about 1 lakh words. It might be many plots, subplots, subplots. It might be many characters. But ultimately, it has to revolve around one subject, one central theme. Otherwise, it cannot be a story. But all these, whether it's a novel or a short story, etc., it is about life. And what is about life cannot be a very long story. Now, between short story and novel, between Telugu and Oriya, between Bengali and Assamese or our Konkani, the life is the same. Life of the people is the same. But in India, there's a difference. You know, we have eight of the world's largest languages in India. All of you must be knowing that India is now the most populated country in the world. It has overtaken China. And with 30 odd states, 24 recognized languages of Sahitya Academy, and 22 languages in the 8th schedule of our constitution. It's a huge thing. People from one part of India go to another part, they can't understand what's going on. Now, of course, many people talk Hindi, some people talk English, but that's not a general thing. I got into IAS. I was selected for IAS. I went to Tamil Nadu from Goa. I couldn't understand a single word of Tamil. We studied, then we understood. But if some Goan today goes to Tamil Nadu and tries to communicate to somebody else, it's just impossible, because the Tamilian would not know Konkani and the Konkani fellow would not know Tamil. Tamilian fellow will not also know Hindi. Most of the Tamilians, grassroots Tamilians, do not know Hindi. Most people in South India who are grassroots fellows do not know Hindi. So this is the status of our country. This is the tragedy of our. I would call it a tragedy, but this is a fact. This is the situation, and it's very difficult to keep it integrated, because only if we go abroad and meet another Indian, we say, "Are you from India?" Then we start talking in Hindi or English, depending on your education. But within India, when you go from one part to another, we have to use some sort of broken Hindi or English. We can't talk in straightway in his language or my language. Same thing with literature. Today we are in a position where I cannot directly read any of our beautiful literature, all these beautiful languages, unless I get the translation. And I cannot assure that the translation will be very faithful. I will give an example. My wife has translated four short story collections of Odia into Konkani. But unfortunately, what happens? She doesn't know Odia. So she has to read English translations of Odia and then translate the English translations into Konkani. This is what happens to all Indian languages, and Sahitya Academy calls them link language. Unless the translator is good at the English language, he might uh, totally sort of sabotage the translation. I'll give a small example. There is a professor of English somewhere in Orissa. He has translated some lot of short stories of an author. I will not give you the name. And once he says he fell down unconscious. He has to write like this. He fell down unconscious. But what he writes is he fell down senseless. Now he fell down senseless doesn't make any sense. But he's a professor of English. He translates Odia language short story, and my wife corrects it in Konkani. So we were laughing. He said, "What is this senseless? This is a common problem, and eventually, I suppose all of us will have to deal with this, being faithful to the original language, literature, and make the translation as faithful as possible." Most important thing, most important thing. Unfortunately, I find only one fellow clapping all this time. Only one clap all this time. Even the beautiful shares which some of our previous session I was listening to, when somebody was reciting some nice share. Even that time, that time only one gentleman I think clapped. I think we must give him a Padma Shri. So, so I think, you see, audience also has to participate in what is going on. Unless the audience participates, the people who are at the helm of the affairs or they are on the platform, they don't feel encouraged to sort of really give their wholehearted support or wholehearted involvement in what is going on. You see? So this is a message for the audience. What I was saying is the most important function of our language in India is to integrate India. Language can be a big integrator. We have to use it as an integrator because language has the capacity of disintegrating nations. Look at Pakistan. Pakistan was divided into Pakistan and Bangladesh purely on the basis of a language. And we don't know how many other countries all over the world are a victim of this thing. Language can be both a destroyer and a creator. We have to use it as a creator. For using it as a creator, I think Sahitya Academy is doing a very great job by uh, having all these huge sessions of about 500 writers uh, coming together every year and discussing on various literary issues. It is not only the question of discussing issues on literary affairs, it is discussing subconsciously how we can promote national integration through literature and through language without allowing any parts of India to feel that they are different from the rest of the country. I wish Sahitya Academy pay some attention to what is called a linked language because ultimately the people who translate into linked language all over Indian languages and allow the translators to translate from linked language to other languages, they play a very important role. Otherwise, one Indian can never understand what is happening in the literature of other parts of India. My humble suggestion to Sahitya Academy authorities would be to give some thought to this and to see how best they can promote good, honest, sincere link language expertise in all parts of the country, so that all our languages can be uh, ex, uh, speedily translated. Now there are very in Konkani slowly, we our whole literature is maybe less than 100 years old, and but we have already two this uh, Gyanpit awardees. Lot of literature is being translated in English, etc. Unless it was translated in English, outsiders would not have known that such beautiful literature can be created in a small language called Konkani. Similar thing happens to others. Oriya can be very beautiful. Bengali, already known for very beautiful creations, great writers. Assamese, I don't know. Punjabi, I don't know. Marathi, I know. Very great writers, beautiful literature. things like this has to come into Hindi or some other national language, some other regional language, and of course English, because it has to go all over the world. And Sahitya Academy has to play a great role in this. I wish Sahitya Academy all the best in future, and I sincerely wish that they sort of discuss within their own expert authorities and expert panels whatever I have suggested, and take action in future. I thank the Sahitya Academy for giving me this opportunity for chairing this session. Actually, I have not chaired this session. It is our Kampier Saab who has chaired this session. And I have only participated by making the longest speech. The longest speech comes with me and it will go with me because it is a part of my personality in the IAS. So we are accustomed to speaking more than others. Okay. So thank you very much for listening and clapping to whatever I have said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, respectable Arvind P. Bhatikar जी। दरअसल ये जो बातचीत आपने की ये कहानी की तरह प्रभावशाली थी और दिल में सीधे उतरने वाली बातें थी। और इस जो दिशा भी आपने दी है उसके लिए भी आपका बहुत-बहुत आभार और आपका जो स्नेह और प्रोत्साहन मिला उसके भी बहुत-बहुत आभार। अरविंद बी भाटिकर जी और उसके साथ-साथ अनीता नायक जी, पेंड्याला गायत्री जी के लिए आपकी तालियों की गुज़ारिश ज़रूर करूँगा कि एक बार ज़ोरदार करताल ध्वनि के साथ अभिनंदन वंदन करें ऐसे साहित्य रचनाकारों का जिन्होंने इतनी महत्वपूर्ण ढंग से ना सिर्फ विधा को समृद्ध किया है बल्कि एक दिशा जिस तरह से भाटिकर साहब ने बताया कि उसका उद्देश्य क्या होना चाहिए इस देश की एकता, इसकी अखंडता, इसके गौरव की रक्षा या उसकी बढ़ोतरी के लिए। तो हृदय से आभार बहुत-बहुत सर और आप दोनों जो कहानियां जिन्होंने रखी उनके लिए भी बहुत-बहुत आभार। इसके साथ ही विद दिस वी कंक्लूड दिस सेशन एंड इसके साथ एक लंच ब्रेक होगा। उसके बाद हम 2:30 बजे जो शुरुआत करेंगे भविष्य के उपन्यास जो नॉवेल्स ऑफ फ्यूचर उनका भविष्य किस रूप में हो क्या हो तो उसको लेकर एक चर्चा महत्वपूर्ण होगी उसमें जरूर आप पधारें। अभी के लिए बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी का। आभार। Just if we may have 2 minutes. Gayathri ji just wanted to say something.
Telugu. All of you, good afternoon. प्रतिज्ञा भारत मेरा देश है భారతదేశం నా మాతృభూమి is writer పైడిమర్రి వెంకట సుబ్బారావు తెలుగు రైటర్ ఆంధ్ర కేసరి టంగుటూరి ప్రకాశం తెలుగు ఫ్రీడమ్ ఫైటర్ అమరజీవి పొట్టి శ్రీరాములు తెలుగు స్టేట్ కోసం ఫైట్ చేసి తన ప్రాణాలను కోల్పోయినటువంటి వ్యక్తి ఈ ముగ్గురు పైడిమర్రి వెంకట సుబ్బారావు టంగుటూరి ప్రకాశం పంతులు అలాగే అమరజీవి పొట్టి శ్రీరాములు ఇందాక స్వర్ణ మేడం చదివినటువంటి స్టోరీలో ఈ ముగ్గురు పాత్రధారులు క్యారెక్టర్స్ వాళ్ళ యొక్క త్యాగాన్ని నెక్స్ట్ తరం తెలుసుకోవడం కోసం రాసినటువంటి స్టోరీ అది. ఐ ఫీల్ ఎక్సైటింగ్ చాలా చాలా సంతోషంగా ఉంది సాహిత్య అకాడమీ నాకు ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినందుకు. అలాగే ఇంకొక విషయం చెప్పాలి, నా దేశ వారసత్వ సంపద నాకు గర్వకారణం. దానికి అర్హత పొందడానికి నేనేం చేయాలి, నా దేశ ప్రజలు ఏం చేయాలి అనేటువంటి మెసేజ్ ఇవ్వడం కోసమే ఆ స్టోరీలో ట్రై చేశాను. ఇంత మంచి ఆపర్చునిటీ ఇచ్చినటువంటి సార్ గారికి థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thank you, Gayatri ji. This was not part of the session, but even then we appreciate your emotions and your contribution. Thank you very much. Please.